Have you ever wondered about the pros and cons of living in Evansville, Indiana? You're going to want to stay tuned for this. Okay, so let's be honest. I would rather start with the good stuff first because I'm kind of a glass half full kind of person. What kind of person are you? Anyways, let's hop right into it. First thing on my pro list is the amount of family activities. As a mom of 3, I am always looking for things to do that are family friendly. And I feel like Evansville and the surrounding areas definitely check the boxes in this area. So let's talk about some of them that come to my mind first off. Number 1, the newly built skate park in Evansville, right on the riverfront. It is pretty stinking awesome. Now, they say that this skate park is like the biggest in Indiana. So like, how cool is that this is right at our fingertips? And I will say, as a mom of younger kiddos, every time we take the kids there, everyone around is just super friendly, super helpful. It's a great place to go. It's a really fun time. Now, some other kid-friendly activities. We have Sky Zone, which is a trampoline park, SEMO, which is the Children's Museum of Evansville, and the Dig and Roll is also pretty new to our area, and that looks super cool. Now, also some other fun activities, maybe if you don't have little ones, the river and lakes around here. So we have boating, kayaking, fishing, all kinds of bodies of water. Bluegrass comes to mind with all the fishing and kayaking. Ohio River comes to mind if you're wanting to boat or do some fishing as well. There's all sorts of activities that involve around being outdoors and just enjoying the day. There's a ton of ways, I feel like, in this area to stay active. We have walking trails everywhere. Newburgh has one at Freedman Park. Then we have the riverfront has one that is called the Greenway Passage and actually goes like farther than just the riverfront. Like you can go pretty darn far on that Greenway. And then also USI has their walking trail as well that is just beautiful, especially at certain times of the year. Okay, so the second perk of living in Evansville, Indiana, the pro, as I should say, would be the employment opportunities. So let's talk about a few of those. First that comes to mind would be Barre Plastics, and that is located kind of downtown north-ish side of Evansville. It's right off First Avenue, and it is a pretty big company at this point. And they are a plastics manufacturer, and you can imagine that anything from office type jobs all the way to the plant, and then even more so the logistics side of things, there are a ton of employment opportunities within that company. Also, Deaconess Healthcare comes to mind. Deaconess has multiple hospitals in our area, as well as doctor's offices, urgent cares, and all of the things. So that is definitely a big opportunity employer in this area. Toyota comes to mind as well. They are in Princeton, Indiana, which is just a short drive up Highway 41. That's a big plant with a lot of opportunities and a lot of different types of jobs within that company. A couple other ones that come to mind in Posey County, we have Sabic, which is a plastics company, and then BWXT does some pretty cool work as well with some military stuff, is a great employer to work for. The ability to find a job that fits you and have plenty of opportunities within the community is definitely a pro of being in Evansville, Indiana. Okay, last on my pros list today is the affordability of living in Evansville, Indiana. Now, let's talk about this. In today's world, everyone is looking for ways to save money, ways to cut costs, and how to live within their means, right? So with Evansville, Indiana, what we found is we are actually more affordable to live here than a lot of places around the country. In fact, statistics show that we are 8% lower than the national average when it comes to affordability of living. Also, our housing costs are actually 26% less than the national average, which means you can get a lot more house with a lot less money, right? Who doesn't love that? So around here, I feel like most people can get a decent starter home within the high hundreds, maybe $200,000 range, depending on their budget. But housing is definitely more affordable in the Evansville area than if you go out and look in other areas of the country. Okay, I want to stop and take a second to thank our sponsor of today's video, Paul Kastrup with Mortgage Masters Evansville. He does a great job with anything lending related. So if you need any lending needs, make sure to give Paul a call and he'd be happy to help. Okay, so I guess now it's time to move on to the cons of living in Evansville, Indiana. First thing that comes to mind is definitely the weather around here. Now, I love that we get to experience all 4 seasons. but sometimes those seasons can get a little extreme and a little on the crazy side. Let's start just from the top and work our way down. Springtime. We are in the midst of spring right now, and let's just say some days are beautiful with sunny and 75, right? And then there's other days where we are prepping for crazy thunderstorms. Thankfully, a lot of the times the rivers can kind of break up the weather a little bit for us, but we do have a lot of tornado warnings at this time of the year, just thunderstorms, hail, that type of stuff as well. So that definitely is a downfall to living in this area. Now, summertime, again, can be absolutely beautiful, but also can be humid. Okay, so it is definitely one of those things, you just kind of get used to it. Some days are just so humid that you just want to stay inside all day, which is fine. And then we go on to fall, and fall is just one of those seasons for us in Evansville, Indiana, that one day it is a beautiful fall day and the wind is blowing, and then the next day it is freezing and you think winter's coming, and then the next day it is hot as all get out and you're like, is summer back? Fall doesn't know what it's doing around here at all. Winter is pretty normal. Sometimes it's a little mild, but we do experience snow, ice, storms on occasion. It can get pretty cold. Definitely the weather is something that you have to adapt to here in Evansville, Indiana. Okay, so my second con of today for living in Evansville, Indiana would definitely have to be what people call our state flower. Now, this is just a running joke in the Evansville area for the amount of traffic cones you will see on our roads. You always see the silly Facebook post. It's like, oh, look, our state flower is blooming. And it is definitely just the traffic cones lined up against the road in different areas at different times. So with Indiana being the crossroads of America, we have a ton of roads, and obviously there has to be the construction, but it is a running joke that the construction is awful and our state flower is the traffic cone. Last but not least on our cons list for living in Evansville, Indiana would definitely have to be the fact that you must pick your side of town when living here. That sounds a little silly, but let me explain. If someone asks you where you're from and you say Evansville, they're gonna say, yeah, but what side of town do you live on? There is something huge between the West Siders and the East Siders and the North Siders. You just have to know which one you are. There is even a pizza made after the West Siders, which includes ski and grippo and pulled pork. You gotta try it at A-Zip. But picking your side of town is a huge deal, and you definitely need to know about it if you plan to live here. So now that we've went through the pros and cons of Evansville, Indiana, I wanted to take a second to just thank you for watching, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of our future videos about the Evansville and surrounding areas. And if you ever need a real estate agent, make sure to give the Angel team a call, and we'd be happy to help. But with that, I'm Kendra with the Angel team in RE/MAX Revolution. I want to thank you so much for watching today.